Hey everyone, I've got a bit of an issue. My car doesn't always start on the first try. I noticed that the problem is likely with the ignition, possibly the ignition switch. So I ordered a new ignition switch, and now I'm going to replace it and see if that solves the issue. Right now, if I slightly move the key up or down, the engine sometimes starts and sometimes it doesn't. So the problem is likely somewhere in this area. Hopefully, it's not the lock cylinder itself, but just the ignition switch. The ignition starter switch is located under the steering wheel, specifically beneath this trim panel. To get to it, we'll need to remove the steering wheel to access the screws holding the trim in place. Then we unscrew the side bolts and a few underneath, remove the steering column cover, and we'll have access to the ignition switch for replacement. But actually you can do it without removing the entire steering wheel. Just turn the wheel one way. See? It reveals a hole where you can remove a screw. Now grab a long screwdriver and reach along the steering wheel to loosen the bolt from this side. Then turn the wheel the other way and do the same thing on the opposite side. That's how we remove the side screws. Next, remove 2 screws here and 1 more near the center of the plastic trim. Once that's done, we'll have access to the ignition switch so we can replace it. Now that all the screws are out, we can carefully remove the trim. First, unlock the steering column adjustment and lower the wheel a bit. I also remove the panel above the instrument cluster to make it easier to work. Now lift the upper trim piece straight up. There, it's off. Take out the ignition key and then remove the lower trim panel. I can't fully remove the lower part because this lever here is in the way. I pulled it forward as much as possible. The most important thing is just getting to the ignition switch. Here's our ignition switch. It's held in place by 2 small screws. Grab a thin flathead screwdriver and carefully unscrew them. It's best to use a magnetic screwdriver. That makes things much easier. These are the tiny screws, and once they're out, the ignition switch should come out of the ignition lock. Here's a crucial part. If you're having trouble pulling the ignition switch out, this piece of plastic might be in the way. Turns out, you have to fully extend the steering column toward you. Once you pull the steering wheel out, the ignition switch is completely free and can be removed. Now disconnect the connector from the switch. Thanks to the built-in alignment tabs, you can't install it the wrong way. Now we need the new ignition switch. I bought this one from Meyle for $10. Here's the old one. I don't see any cracks or damage. And here's the new one. Let's install it and hope the car starts without any issues. Insert the new ignition switch into the connector. The guide tabs make sure it only fits one way. Now push it all the way back into the ignition lock and secure it with the screws. Quickly reassemble everything and let's test the ignition. Alright, everything's reassembled. As you can see, it wasn't too difficult. Now it's time to test it. I turned the key. It rotates much more smoothly now. The old ignition switch was worn out and had some resistance when turning. Let's try to start it. As you can see, the issue is still there and the car won't start. Not sure yet. I'll have to keep troubleshooting. I'm starting to think it might actually be the starter. Let's turn off the ignition and try again. Now on the second attempt, the engine started. To be continued.